Use the code CHICKEN in the shop.
Guys, the chicken is here, bringing you another Boom Beach video. Oh man, in today's video, we had to go back in. And it got pretty crazy. So check this out. We are at 23 and 72. Now I'm hoping and praying you guys will actually know by the time this comes out if we are able to make the top 500 just because of that. But let's talk about the season as a whole. The last little roundup was just wild. So as you can see, 2 days ago was when I stopped playing initially. Went back in, got crushed on the first one. I was like, oh no, this is just going to be a free fall from here. We lost the second one, which was a heartbreaker by 1 percentage point. 1 percentage point. How many of those attacks have you guys had this season that came down to percentage? Very, very few and far between. And to come down that close and lose, that really took the wind out of my sails. I honestly thought that we lost this one against Myra, but we ended up winning. That's when the tide started to turn. And then we won one against Mr. Jizz, which I was surprised by because he's a really good player, but he ended up fizzling. That's why I was running this base, just in hopes of getting an attack like that. If they take down this base, they usually get it in a fairly decent time. But it's not impossible to get fizzles against it. So that's what I was hoping on, because at that time, until I beat him, I did not have, maximum effective tech, whatever you want to call it. I didn't have the artillery and I didn't have the hot pod. So adding those two things really ended up making a difference for me. You can see here we won by 3 seconds. And this attack was crucial because we got ranked up against a guy in rank 24. If you guys don't know how the ranking system works, the higher in rank the player that you play against is than you get more stars. So I got 15 stars from this win on this guy in rank 24. Same thing as the opposite. If you play someone, like if I was to play someone rank 22, I would win less stars. But let's just talk about, let's show some replays, I guess. I'll show a replay on the last one. But let's talk about, just kind of the game plan on going in and parking early. And, something I've definitely hammered home this season is even when things look good a few days out, just keep going. At least get the chest and make that final push and make it solid. Unless you get to some spot where you know you're going to be safe for whatever your goal is, whether that's getting to a certain rank so you start in a certain rank next season, whether it's doing that or trying to face somewhere in your local or on the global leaderboards, just make sure you have a good idea of what that, is actually going to look like as it's solidified, because today I was going back and forth with Shish Kebabber a lot, actually, and we were discussing where the, where the top 500 would be, and like looking at it every hour, and it's like, okay, it's moving a little bit. Suffice to say, I had to go back in. I wasn't going to be safe, and I still don't know. Obviously, I could have not made it. I'm not sure. I've got a good feeling about where we're at now, and I definitely want to stop and wait and see again. But I think we're in a pretty good position. So yeah, but that's what it's all about. It's just about watching, having an idea of where it's going to end up. It is a tough thing to track, and I'll leave that to the professionals. But the biggest thing is, you have to set out what are your goals, what are your plans, what do you want to achieve, and that kind of thing. So so looking at it that way, I hadn't played for 2 days, right? So what am I missing? I'm missing some offensive tech in the artillery, and I'm missing a little bit of defensive tech in the hot pod. So it's going to be an uphill climb. What can we do to make something, what can we do to change anything to make it in our favor? Obviously, we could attack more aggressively. Not really a safe plan. All the bases are pretty well the same. All the bases pretty well have max tech, so that might not be the greatest option. So we're that's an option, but not a very good one. But what we can do instead, and I've actually done this before in the past, was change the base to like a high risk, high reward setup. So essentially, have the chance that people are going to fizzle, or what I also did a few days ago is I made this really weird base that not a lot of people had seen, and I had really great success with it. Yeah, sometimes I got crushed by Seekers, or sometimes I got crushed by something that was like over 2 minutes and left me zero chance of winning. But just having that kind of weirdness factor to it, I think is a big thing in warships. I think it's an overlooked thing, honestly, that most people don't do. They grab the best base and they run with that. And I mean, yeah, that's good. You're going to have good times. But sometimes you got to go outside the box a little bit and do some kind of weird stuff. Because if you go down here, if we go to the enemy replay, this was my base that got me to my initial parking spot. And it was weird. It was weird. There's not a lot of people running it. I think it actually might have been a fake base. I'm not sure. But it worked great for me just because people didn't know how to hit it. It wasn't the same thing, and they had to do something a little bit different. Especially when we get later into the season, all the attacks kind of become the same. All the bases kind of become the same. So if you're able to throw a curveball every now and then in whatever sense you're able to do that, then that can be really beneficial. Obviously, it's not going to work all the time. It's probably going to work less often than not. But I felt like being at a bit of a tech deficit, disadvantage, whatever. Not by a lot, just a couple things. I needed to do something just a little bit different, just to give me that edge, and it ended up working out really well. So, yeah, that was how I got there, and then. Yeah, so let's talk about the season as a whole. Well, we got the tech tree still. Let's talk about the season as a whole. So, I felt like this was a fantastic warship season. I felt like it wasn't amazing, but I felt like it was very good. And this is kind of classic warships, really, like what this season was all about. We started off with our heavy rush, but I think we got so used to how grindy and how long those 4-week seasons were compared to a 3-week season that this season was just so much fun because there was a lot of stuff to get. Now, every day we were unlocking 1 or even 2 things that were an advantage. Now, I think the problem with the design, if I'm going to get nitpicky with this tree a little bit, was everything kind of ended up being really good. And whenever you have that, it's tough to get out of the pack of people, right? So it's tough to get away from the maxed 4s as an early 5. Even though everything on both sides is good and everyone just kind of ends up like moving together as we unlock all that next tech. I think what's better is having some bad choices mixed in with some good ones. And how you do that is basically, you change up stuff in the tree so people don't know what to expect. They don't know if it's going to be good. If it's a, high risk, high reward, or bury something that could be another option behind the mechs, not something that's required to get. I want to be clear. I'm not saying create a bunch of key vacuums, Supercell. We don't want that. This is good. That's a good spot for the mech. That's a good house for him. Just leave him there. Don't think about him, and just stick him right there every season. But for the most part, they also nailed the very end of the tech tree here by putting the extra mines at the very back. That's good. Overall, I believe the design of this tech tree was a lot better than what we've seen in the past, but I still think there's room for improvement. I still think there's things that can be done better. Having multiple options to get to effective tech is always good. Stuff like this, we can do without. Simply swap the shock mine with the medics, I think makes a lot of sense. But, at the same time, to play devil's advocate, then again, everyone kind of ends up with all the good stuff. What's the what's the benefit for going for the shock mines if you don't have to take on something that you're not going to use to be able to get there, but going all in on that path because that's the path you want to take. So it's interesting. There's a lot that goes into it, but I think it was this season actually. Yeah, they actually had, I forget if I told you guys this or not, and I think I can tell you, but they had Everspark initially where Barrage was, and they had Barrage at 2 ERs. So I was able to get a message to it. It was like, oh, sound the alarm. That's not good. We never want Barrage at 2 engines, because I felt like what would have happened there, everyone would have had to have Barrage to compete. So you would have dumped all your keys, all your tokens into Barrage and then not have anything else. And then, this kind of great tech tree that allowed us to progress rapidly and daily with all these movements, that just would have been slammed to a halt because we have no tokens anymore. And, the keys we would get them back a little bit faster than the tokens, but still 30 keys for Barrage at the beginning of the season. That's an expensive unlock. And, obviously gameplay wise, we never just want to have I can tap my Barrage 4 times faster on the screen than you can. That's just not fun for anybody. So glad that that got worked out. And yeah, we're currently sitting at 23 and 72. So is it going to be enough? I don't know. I'm hoping that it is. And we'll see. We'll see. So cool season. A little bit stressful towards the end, but I hope you guys enjoy that. We did a wild stream over on Chicken Gaming. I'll share that with you guys. It was actually only a 35-minute stream, but that was our total final push. So I'll share that with you guys, and it was a lot of fun. So thank you, everyone. And we got to get we got a little bit of time off, getting ready for season 38. Very excited. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments who you guys made out and your final thoughts on the season. If you agreed with some of the stuff I said, or if you disagree, whatever, let me know in the comments, and we'll take a look at that. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Chicken out. Back.